All right. Good afternoon, everybody. All right. Just type your names in the chat so I'll know who's here. Right. Because I have so many questions to complete today, I want to start now, actually. All right. So just type your name in the chat, please. Right. And good afternoon again, everybody. Just let me know if you all are hearing me clearly. All right. Afternoon, Kyle. Okay. All right, let me not waste any time. Let me start. All right. So basically, what I'm doing here is I'm focusing on statistics today. I'm going to be looking at the type of questions that you might expect to get on the paper. All right. Um, so let's start with question one. Right. So the first question here. The physics scores obtained by 13 students in a quiz are: what is the modal score? Right. So question one we're looking at here. What do you all think is the answer for the first one? Right. So we have a string of scores from a quiz, and we want to know what is the modal score. So take a look at the data and tell me what you think is the answer for this question. Okay. So question one. All right, I'm seeing Kyle saying B. Let's see. So you all need to know what is meant by the mode or your modal value, right? So mode is the value or the data that occurs most frequently, right? So this is what you need to make sure you know what this means. So so your modal score in this case is the score that occurs most frequently. So Kyle is saying B, which is 6. So if we look here, we have 6 here, 6 here, we have another 6 here, 6 here, and we have another 6 here. So you realize that 6 is appearing actually 5 times, right? So therefore, if we look at any other number, no other number occurs most frequently than the 6. So yes, Kyle, the answer will be B, right? What about question 2 now? So we have some math scores here from a quiz. We have, in this one here, we have 13 students again, right? And we want to know what is the median score, right? So we asking here for the median score. So question 2. Look at the data. We want to know what is the median score. So question 2. All right, any answers for question 2? Now remember, we're talking about the median score here, right? You all need to remember when you have a string of data and we want to find the median, right? The median is my middle score, right? So when you have to find median, what we need to do, we need to arrange our data in ascending order or descending order, right? So we have 13 scores here. Let me make sure 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. All right, just now. So this is not really 13, this is 12. All right. So let's arrange this. The first thing we need to do is arrange it in order, right? So this will be, so let's start with the 2. Then we have our next 2. So every data point that you use, please remove it so you don't get confused. So we remove this 2 here and this 2, right? Then what do we have next? We have the next number we have in the set here is 4, right? So we can cross this 4 out. The next thing we have here is 5, so you can cross out the 5, right? The next number we have here is 6 appearing twice. We have a 6 here and a 6 here, so you're going to put 6 and 6. Then what are we left with? We have 2 7s. So we have 7, 7. So we can remove this. And then we have 8 appearing 3 times. So we have 1, 2, 3 8s. So we have 8, 8, 8, right? And then lastly we have 9, right? So let's double check something here. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So really and truly is 12, right? There's a typo I had here. So it's 12 numbers. So when we arrange it in ascending order, this is what I've done, right? Because it's an even number, there's no exact middle. So the half of 12 is 6. So we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, right? So therefore my middle is somewhere along that green line. It's between 6 and 7, right? So when you have an even data set, right, there's no exact middle. So if it's even, we have to divide by 2. You're going to get 12 divided by 2 gives me 6, right? So therefore, if we look carefully, I have 6 numbers on this side and we have 6 numbers on this side. So what I need to do, I need to look at this number here, right, which is my 6th number, and we need to look at this number here. So therefore, in this particular case, my median, right, is equal to 6 plus 7 divided by 2, right, which is 13 divided by 2, which is equal to 6.5. So my median is actually C, right? So my median is C for question 2. Any questions about that? right? So Janelle saying 6.5. Yes, that is correct. All right. So if you have an odd number of data, right, then you will have an exact middle. But because you have an even number in this particular scenario, right, we need to find the sixth term and the seventh term. We add them and we divide by 2. All right. Let's move on to the third one. So we have this one here, right? So a school in Trinidad has 600 students. The pie chart below shows the modes of transportation used by students to attend school. How many students use maxi taxis to reach the school, right? So the third one. All right. If you all see any mistakes, typos, just let me know. Right. I only created these questions last week, so it's kind of hustling, really. So in a school in Trinidad has 600 students, right? So the pie chart shows the modes of transportation used by the students to attend the school. How many students use maxi taxis to reach the school? So question 3. All right, that's Shuri saying A for the third question. All right. Now, when you have a question, so we have 600 students in the class, right? So therefore, the whole circle represents the 600. Now, what we're concerned about here is maxi taxis, right? So that is this sector here of the circle, right? But the thing is, I haven't given you this angle. So the first thing you all need to do, you need to figure out what that angle represents, right? Now, for cars, this is a 90 degree. So this here represents 90 degrees, right? So walk-in is 40 degrees and bus is 110, right? So we need to figure out what the maxi taxi is. So in a complete circle, the total angle that we have here is 360 degrees, right? So what we need to do, we need to add up the 90, which represents the cars. So 90 degrees plus 110 degrees plus 40 degrees, right? So this will give us everything else besides the maxi. So that's 90 plus 110 plus 40, and we're going to get 240, right? So this is 240 degrees. So therefore, for the maxi now, the maxi will be 360 degrees minus the 240, right? So this will give me 60 over 4 is 2, so there's 120 degrees, right? So the maxi taxi actually represents 120 degrees. Now, we know that 360 degrees, which is the whole circle, right? That corresponds to 600 students, right? Because you have 600 students in the school. So this whole thing here corresponds to 600 students. But what we're concerned about, or what we want to work out for 120 degrees, right? So you're working out for 120 degrees, right? Now, when you have a statement like this, what we're going to do, we're going to take this number here, right? Multiply by this number, and then we're going to divide by this number, right? What we are doing here is essentially cross multiplying. That's what we're doing, right? So in school, some teachers will tell you, find for 1 degree, and then work it that way. You can if you want, right? But this is a faster way. It's 120 multiplied by 600 divided by 360. And when you work this out here, this will give me my answer, right? So that is 120 multiplied by 600 divided by 360, and I'm going to get 200. So we have 200 students corresponding to Maxis, right? So, all right, so I see Sharice, Josiah, Astro, and Aaron, right? So A is correct, okay? So cool. Next question. So question 4, we have a diagram. It shows the number of raffle tickets sold by children belonging to a sports club, right? How many children sold 4 tickets, right? So this is an easy question. How many students sold 4 tickets? What is the answer for question 4? That is extremely straightforward. So question 4. All right, so I've seen Sharice and Aaron saying D. Oh, by the way, I must apologize for having class today, right? Because I'm home all the time. I don't really take on holidays, right? So I know today is Corpus Christi, so sorry about that. But you all have exams next month, so shouldn't be a problem, right? And you hope. All right, so how many students sold 4 tickets? So essentially what I want you all to realize is how to interpret a graph like this, right? So we have 4 tickets. So look at this. We have tickets being sold on this axis. So therefore, we're looking to read off this value here. So this 4 tickets corresponds to 7 children sold 4 tickets. So the answer is D. Okay? So that one is straightforward. The answer is D. Next one, question 5. All right, so basically the same diagram I'm using here, but I want to know how many children are there in the sports club, right? How many children are there in the sports club? So question 5. So question 5, right? Now it is rather surprising to me that we only have about 12 people here who are actually in class, right? And the Form 5 class is more than 20 people in the class. All right, either they are ready for the exam or they're just not taking on when we have classes, right? Because right now I've opened up the class to have some Form 4 students here as well. All right, so those of you all are here, I'm glad you all are here, right? All right, so I'm seeing Shri saying D, Astra saying D as well, right? As well as Darrell and Aaron. So let's see what's going on here, right? So remember, you need to interpret the diagram. That's what I'm trying to get you to do here. So look at what's happening. So we have number of tickets. We have 1 ticket. So what this means is that five children sold 1 ticket. Then if we look at 2, right, we see this corresponds to 10. So we have our next 10 children, they would have sold 2 tickets. Then for 3 tickets, when we come off here, we're going to get 12. So this is our next 12 children here. Then for 4, we have, this is corresponding to 7. So we have 7 here. And then we have 5 tickets being sold by 3 children. So this is an next 3 here. So essentially what we know, we need to add this up. So this is 5 and 2, 7, and 7, 14, and 3 is 17. And when we add that up, we're going to get 37. So the answer is D. So you all are correct. The answer is D. All right. Let's move on to the next one. So question 6, right? I'm using the same diagram, so the same data we're looking at. I want to know what is the modal number of tickets sold, right? What is the modal number of tickets sold? Question 6. All right, seeing a lot of answers coming in here. So we have, well, everybody basically saying B. Let me see. So we're looking for the mode, right? So the modal number of tickets scored, right, will be the one that has the highest frequency. So if we look at the graph here, right, we see that we have 12 children actually selling 3 tickets, right? So therefore my modal number of tickets will be 3. It's not 12, eh? I deliberately put 12 here, but 12 is not the answer. The answer is 3. Okay? So question 7. So we're looking at the same data here, but I want you to work out the median number of tickets sold, right? So we want to get the median number of tickets sold. So what about question 7? All right, for this particular question, you need to think about it before you answer. All right, so I'm seeing some answers there. I'm seeing B. You're all saying B for question 7. Now, what you need to do when you have data like this, you need to try to interpret the data, right? So we're talking about median. So just remember, when we're talking about median, we must arrange our data in ascending or descending order, right? I typically arrange it in ascending order. So here's what's happening if I look at the raw data itself, right? So we said that number of tickets sold here is 5 children sold 1 ticket, right? So the data we're looking at is number of tickets sold. Eh? Keep that in mind. Don't confuse yourself. So we're looking at number of tickets sold. Now we got the total number of children. We already worked out that we said is 37, right? So it's 37 children that we have, right? Now, if I were to arrange this data in ascending order, I'm going to write it like this. We have 1 ticket being sold by 5 children. So it's like 1, 1, 1, 1 appearing 5 times. Then for 2 tickets, that's going to appear 10 times. So we're going to put 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, and you keep going, right? And you're going to do this 10 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. However, in the exam, you're not going to write out all the data. Here's what you're going to do. We know that we have 37 children, right? Therefore, because it's an odd number, we're going to have an exact middle. So if we take 37 and we divide it by 2, you're going to get 18.5, right? So if we take 37, right, and we divide it by 2, we're going to get 18.5, right? So my exact middle in this case here is going to be 19, right? I'm going to make sure I'm explaining this properly to you all. So we're looking at 37, right? So 1, the first term going straight up to the 18th term, right? Then you're going to have from, you're going to have your 19th term, and then from 20 going straight down to 37, right? Is that making sense to you guys? In the exam, we're not going to write out all the data points like this, right? So what we're looking for our 19th term. If I give you something more like simpler than that, right? Let's say I have, if I only had 11 data points, right? If I have 11 data points, my exact middle is going to be the 6th term, right? So it would have been 1 to 5, then you have the 6th term, and then we're going to have 7 to 11, right? 1 to 5 is 5 terms, and from 7 to 11, that's 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, right? So you have 5 data points here, you have 5 data points here, and my exact middle will be my 6th term, right? That is if we had 11, right? So in the exam, if you're getting a little confused, choose a smaller number, right? And try to work it out. So in this case here, we're looking for my 19th term, right? Because I have 37 students. So look at something. This is 5 students gonna have, so they would have sold 1 ticket. Then we're gonna add 10 to it, so that's 15 children already, right? But remember, we're going up to 19. We want to get to the 19th term. So by the time you reach 3 tickets sold, it means that I have to add 12 more. So what that is telling me is that my median is actually B, right? So for those of you who had said B, B is the correct answer for this particular one, all right? What about question 8? All right, so question 8, we have a cumulative frequency curve obtained using the scores by 120 students in a maths exam, right? And I want to know what is the median score, right? So just give you an idea about something, right? So this book here, this multiple choice book that I wrote about a few years ago, right? I had created a whole set of new questions, especially under statistics, right? That I have in this book. And what I noticed is that after the book was written, some of the newer multiple choice questions that came in the actual exam, they seem to have copied some of the questions that I did, right? So I'm not telling you buy the book, eh? What I'm telling you is that when I wrote this book, I realized some of the questions that I created in this book, it actually came in the exam, right? They follow the exact same format of some of the questions that I created, okay? So pay attention to some of these questions, please, right? So anyways, forget about that. Let's go on to this. So we want to get what is the median score, right? So we have cumulative frequency on the vertical axis and we have score on the horizontal axis. I want to know what is the median score. So question 8, what is the median? right? So Astro is saying A. Right? Aaron and Shri saying A as well. So by the way, those of you who are in the Form 4 class, you all remember we went through statistics already. You should be able to answer these questions. So we're looking at the cumulative frequency. When they ask you for things like median, we need to know what is the total number of whatever we're talking about here. In this case, we're talking about 120 students. So my median score, we need to find half of 20. So 120 divided by 2, that gives me 60. So what I need to do from the graph now, I need to take my 60, and we're going to go across here on the graph, and we're going to come down, right? So I don't want to draw too much on the graph, but I want you to see what the value is. So if we look at the value here, we're going to read off a value, which is this value here, which is 42. So the median in this case is 42 for question 8, right? I'm not watching the answers you all said. Some of you all saying A. It is not A. A is not the answer. And I'm not sure how you all get 50. So my median score is actually C, which is 42, right? Pay attention to this question. This is a question that I created in that book, and it actually started showing up in the multiple choice exam. And for the last 2 years, the multiple choice questions that they created, there were problems with the question, right? And they had to change the question twice, I noticed already. All right. So when I want to find the median, I find out what is my total data set first. In this case, 120. So if I want to get the median value, I need to find half of that, which is 60. Then you're going to take the 60 and we're going to read off. We're going to go this way and then come down here. When you read off this value here, I'm going to get 42, right? So the answer is C. All right. So moving on to the next one. The next few questions are based on this particular data set we're talking about here. So this one, the same data set again, but I want to know what is my lower quartile, right? What is my lower quartile? Question 9. All right, so I'm seeing some D's here. Oh, Nicholas saying he was late because he had another class. No problem. All right. All right, so my lower quartile. So we have what we call our lower quartile, which is, we call that Q1. That's what we use to represent our lower quartile. All right. Now, again, before I can work out my lower quartile, I need to know what is the total data set, right? So it's 120 students. Now, the lower quartile, all right, or Q1 is actually a quarter of my total data set, right? So we need to first work out a quarter multiplied by 120, right? So this here, we're going to get 30 as my value, right? So a quarter of 120, that gives me 30. Now, what do we need to do with the 30? You go back to the graph and you find where 30 is. And what you're going to do, you're going to go across here and do the same thing like we did with the median. So when we come down here, right, you're going to get 32 again, right? 32, yeah, you're going to get 32. So the answer is D for the lower quartile. All right, so I see most of you all said D, right? Good job. Let's do question 10. Well, should know what I'm going to ask now. What is my upper quartile? right? So question 10. All right, I see Nicholas and Emily saying A, Shuri saying C. So remember upper quartile, all right? Upper quartile is what we call Q3, and that is equal to 3/4 of my total data set, right? In which case we're looking at 3/4 multiplied by 120, right? So this will give me 90, right? So 90 would represent or correspond to my upper quartile. So remember my total data set is 120. So we need to read off at 90. So we're going to go across here. And then we're going to come down, right? So that should correspond to 52, 54, right? So if we bring this down here, right? I don't want to draw too much on it, but basically you're going to come down to 54. So the answer has to be A. All right? So my upper quartile is A, which is 54. All right? So these are the questions that they ask concerning cumulative frequency curves, right? I am telling you for sure, 100% certain you will be getting a cumulative frequency curve in that exam, right? Number 11. Again, we have the same data, but you want to get your interquartile range, right? So because you don't have the file in front of you, I'm going to tell you my lower quartile. Right, we read this all before, so I'm not gonna ask you that again. So my lower quartile, how much did we get? That's all. Lower quartile, we got 32. So my lower quartile is 32. Right? Or we say Q1 is equal to 32. Right? My upper quartile, we just worked that out already. So my upper quartile was equal to, how much we got by 54, I think. Yeah, 54. So my upper quartile was 54. So this is 54. So therefore Q3 is equal to 54. Right? So the question is asking, what is the interquartile range? So question 11. All right, I'm seeing everybody saying B, right? So for those of you who've never seen this before, interquartile range, my interquartile range, right, is equal to my upper quartile, which is Q3 minus Q1. So all you're doing here is taking 54 and subtracting 32. And you're going to get 4 take away 2 is 2, 5 take away 3 is 1. Oh, sorry, 5 take away 3 is 2. Yeah. Right, so my interquartile range is 22. So the answer is B. So you all are correct. All right. So my interquartile range is 22. So that's question 11, right? So in the exam, you need to figure out what the lower quartile is first, and you need to figure out the upper quartile and then subtract those two numbers, right? Question 12. I want to get the semi-interquartile range. So again, Q1 was 32. Q1 was 32, Q3 was 54. And the question wants, what is my semi-interquartile range? So question 12. So I'm seeing Shuri saying C. Aaron is also saying C. Alright, so you need to remember this formula. Semi-interquartile range. So my semi-interquartile range, right, is equal to my interquartile range divided by 2. Right? That's all it means. So you just worked out the interquartile range, right? You got 22. So in the question previously, we got 22. So it's going to be 22 divided by 2, which gives me 11, right? So my interquartile range, yes, it is C. All right. So make sure you know how to work these things out, right? Question 13. So we have the same data again. How many students scored less than 50? So how many students scored less than 50? What is the answer for question 13? How many students scored less than 50? All right, so I've seen some C's coming in there. So we want to find out how many students scored less than 50. Now this is a special type of graph, and we call this graph a cumulative frequency curve, right? Now, when I taught this in class, I told you all when you are labeling your horizontal axis, you put this word inside it. You put this word less than, because that is what the graph is showing me. It's showing me, right, the scores less than a particular value, right? So when they ask you for the how many students scored less than 50, we need to come here, we need to read off the 50, and then we need to go up. So we're going in the reverse direction this time, because we're asking for number of children, right? Now we're going to meet the graph, and then we're going to go across here. So when you go across here, what you realize, what you're going to get is 80. So this means that 80 students, right, scored less than 50 in this exam. So the answer is C for question 13. All right, that's how we work that out. Once you see less than, you read it off directly from your graph. Question 14 now. We want to know how many students scored more than 70 in the exam. So question 14. So waiting for some more answers there. So Shuri said A, Nicholas saying B. All right, so here's what we're going to do now. So look at the word there, more than 70. So we're looking at scores, right? So we're going to read off at 70. So you're going to look, this is score on the horizontal axis. So when we go up here, all right, so when we read this value up here, what you're going to get, this is going to correspond to 110. All right, now that corresponds to 110 students. So how do we interpret that data? What that data is telling me is that 110 students scored less than 70, right? Remember what I told you. This graph gives me less than. But the question is asking for more than, right? Pay attention to that. So the actual answer is not 110. So you see I put 110 as the answer, that's wrong, right? So anybody who's saying A, that is wrong. So what you need to do, you need to take my maximum value, which is 120, and subtract the 110, right? And I'm going to get 10. So therefore, there are 10 students who actually scored more than 70. So the answer is B and not A. Pay attention to that, please. Right? When they ask you more than, right, you need to read it off from the graph and subtract it from my maximum number of points that we have, or the maximum data value. Okay? So look at the wording. The question can either ask for less than or it can ask for more than. So you all get that? All right, so I think I just have two more questions on the same graph to ask you all, right? Let's move on because I have about 40 questions here. I don't know if I'll make it to all 40. So in this one here now, we asked about probability. So what I've done, I've created questions of all the things that I know they can ask you in the exam concerning this, right? So we have the same 120 students, they write a maths exam, right? A student, so the question is here, a student is selected at random. What is the probability that the student scored at least 50? What is the probability that the student scored at least 50? Question 15. So what is the probability that a student selected at random scored at least 50? So for this particular question, we need to understand the language, right? So the question is asking that the student scored at least 50. Now, what that means, at least 50 means 50 or more, right? That's what that means. At least 50 means 50 or more, right? Now, this is where the score 50 is, right? So I just gave you all, this corresponds to 80 children, right? So what that means is that 80 children scored less than 50. But what we are concerned about is 50 or more, right? So if we have 80 here, 80 students scored less than 50, it means that 40 students scored more than 50, right? That's what that means. So you read off the 80, we need to take 180 minus my 80, you're going to get 40. So this here, this number 40 represents students who scored 50 or more, right? This here represents 50 or more. So the probability, right, that they're asking us here is, we're going to take the 40, right? So this is going to be 40 divided by a total number of students, which is 120. So 40 over 120, that'll give me 4 over 12, which is actually 1/3, right? So the answer is actually D for this one. All right, so the answer is D and not C. I'm seeing you all saying C. It is D. Pay attention to the wording of the question. All right. Question 16. Pay attention to this question because something similar to this came last year, I believe, right? So the question is saying, if 33 1/3% of the students pass the exam, what was the pass mark for this exam? So question 16. All right, so I'm seeing two, Nicholas and Daryl saying A. So the question is saying 33 1/3% of the students pass the exam, right? Now, you all need to know what 33 1/3% means, right? 33 1/3% is actually 1/3, right? That's first thing. So what this is saying is that 1/3 of the students pass the exam. Now remember, you have 120 students in total, right? So the number of students who actually pass the exam, right? So number, right, passing the exam, right, is going to be 1/3 multiplied by 120, right? So what this is saying is that 40 children pass the exam, all right? Now remember, you have a total of 120 students, right? So 40 students pass the exam, right? So here's what we need to do. If 40 students pass the exam, it means that 80 of them fail, right? So 80 of them fail the exam. So what we need to do, we need to go to 80, right? And we're gonna go across to the graph in order to get the pass mark, right? When you come down here, we're gonna get 50, right? So try to understand what's happening here. So it means that 80 students got less than 50, and it also means that 40 students got more than 50. We are concerned about 40 students passing. So in this case here, my pass mark is actually 50. So the answer has to be A. All right. Now try to reason that. You see the last two questions I did here? That is this one and the previous one, 15 and 16. Something similar to that came last year. All right. So make sure you know how to work this question out. All right. Understand that 33 and a third percent passed the exam. So that means that 1/3 passed the exam. So we can actually work out how many people passed the exam, which is 1/3 multiplied by 120. So you're going to get 40 students going to pass the exam. If 40 students pass the exam, it means that 80 of them fail. So I need to come to the graph. I'm going to read off my 80. That is corresponding to a mark of 50. So my pass mark in this case has to be 50. Everybody who gets more than 50, they are going to pass the exam, right? All right, so moving on to question 17. What is the name given to a cumulative frequency curve? Right? I mentioned this many times in class. So question 17, what's the answer? All right, so I've seen some of you all saying A. So yes, the answer is an ogive, right? This has come in the actual exam already as well. You need to know the name of the shape of that curve is called an ogive, right? Question 18 now. All right, this is another way we can be given questions. They can give us a table with data in it. So the time in minutes customers wait in a line at the bank to be serviced is shown in the table below. What is the range of the times? Question wants to find out what is the range. So question 18. All right, seeing everybody saying B. So the question wants, what is the range of the times? So we're concerned about time, right? Look at where time is. Time is the top part of the diagram. So your range is the difference between, so we're talking about range here, right? So your range is the difference between your highest data set and your lowest data set. So in terms of time, 7, right? 7 minutes represents my highest time, so it's 7. My lowest time here is 2, so it's 7 minus 2, which gives me 5. So my answer is 5 minutes. So the answer is B. So question 18, the answer is B, right? So you all are correct. Question 19. So we're using the same data set again, right? I want to know what is my modal time. So question 19. All right, so I'm seeing a lot of you all saying C for the answer. So we want the modal time, right? So mode is the data that occurs most frequently. So in this case here, you need to understand that number of people, right? This row here is actually my frequency here, right? It means like, so in this case here, 3 people had to wait 2 minutes, 6 people had to wait 3 minutes, 7 people had to wait 4 minutes. So my mode corresponds to my highest frequency, which is this column here, right? So 7 corresponds to my highest frequency, and that corresponds to a time of 4 minutes. So the answer has to be C for question 19, right? Question 20, we're looking at the same data again, but this time I want to know what is the median time. So question 20. All right, I'm seeing everybody saying C. All right, so here's what you need to do. So we have number of people and we have time in minutes, right? Now the thing is, the first thing you need to figure out is how many people do we actually have in this sample, right? So you have, so what you first thing you need to do, you need to say 3 plus 6 plus 7 plus 5 plus 3 plus 1, right? You add up all of that. So that is 6 and 3, 9 and 7, 16. 16 and 5 is 21. And 3 is 24. And 1, so that's 25. So in total, we have 25 people in this that is waiting here, or in the sample, right? So because this is an odd number, then we have an exact middle, right? So 25, it's an odd number, so we have an exact middle. So therefore, if I take 25 and I divide by 2, you're going to get 12.5, right? So therefore, my median corresponds to my 13th person, That's what that corresponds to, right? That's what that means. So that corresponds to my 13th person. So now we need to go to the table and we're going to look. So this is 3 people here, all right, so far. Then I have a next 6 person here, so that's 9. So we're up to the 9th person already. And when we come here now, 9 and 7 is 16th, which means that my 13th person is going to lie within this column here. My 13th person is in this data, right? So therefore my median time has to be 4 minutes, right? So the answer is C for this particular question, right? So this is the thought process you have to do in order to work this out, right? It's not really a guessing we're doing here, right? Question 21. This one will take you 2 minutes to do. Want to know what is my mean time? So using this data, what is my mean time? So question 21, right? What is the mean time or the mean waiting time? Now right now I'm allowing you to use your calculator. Keep in mind the actual exam next month, you're not going to be using a calculator. You have to do this right by hand. So I'm seeing Astro got C. Jonil got C as well. So you all need to know this formula. My mean, I usually write it as this: X bar is equal to sigma XF over sigma F, right? For those of you who've never seen this formula, you don't even need to remember it. Just remember what you need to do. So my time, we're going to call that X, and the number of people, we're going to call that my frequency. So here's what you need to do. We're going to have to take 2 multiplied by 3. I'm going to add that to 3 multiplied by 6. Right? What we're doing, we're taking this number and multiply by this number. Plus 4 by 7. Right? This is how you find mean when you're given a table like this. Plus 5 multiplied by 5. Plus 6 multiplied by 3. Plus 7 multiplied by 1. Right? And then we're going to take all of that and divide it by the total number of people I have. We just worked out that we said we had 25 people. So my mean X bar is equal to this. But I need to work this out, right? So I'm going to use my calculator to work this out here. So that is 6 plus 18 plus 28 plus 25 plus 18 plus 7. You're going to get 102. So you're going to get 102 when you work at the top and divide by 25. And then I'm going to get 4.08. So this will give me 4.08, right, minutes. So therefore, you are correct. The answer is C. All right. So this is how we work out mean when you are given a table. Next one, question 22. We have a probability question here. All right, the same data we're using. A customer is chosen at random. What is the probability that he waited at least 5 minutes? Question 22. Now, you need to understand what these words mean, right? So when they say at least 5 minutes, it means 5 minutes or more, right? So look at something here. So this is where 5 minutes, we have 5 minutes, we have 6 minutes, and we have 7 minutes. So all of this here corresponds to at least 5 minutes, right? So we're looking at the number of people. So you have 5, you have 3, and you have 1, right? So the total of number of people we're talking about here is 5 plus 3, which is 8, and 1, 9, right? Yeah, 8 and 1, 9, right? So the probability, right, that a person chosen at random waits more than 5 minutes, so the probability of waiting more than 5 minutes, right, is equal to 5, and so we got 9 people waited more than 5 minutes, right, 5 minutes or more, and divide by the total number of people. So it's 9 over 25. So the answer has to be A for question 22, right? So the answer is A, right? You had to include this 5 here. It can't be 4 over 25. All right, let me just change something here one time. All right, so the answer is 9 over 25. What about 23? Same data. What's the probability that the person waited exactly 3 minutes? So question 23. All right, I've seen a lot of answers saying D. Let me see. So when we're talking about exactly 3 minutes, so we find where 3 minutes is. So we have 6 people, they waited 3 minutes. So we're looking at exactly. So the probability of waiting exactly 3 minutes right, is equal to, we had 6 people waiting for 3 minutes. So it's 6 out of 25. So the answer is simply D. All right, so you all are correct. The answer is D. Question 24. We have a board game and a die is thrown twice. The result of each throw is added and the player moves. It should be move his token by this amount on the board. What is the probability that the player gets a 2 on the first throw and an even number on the second throw? So question 24. All right, I'm seeing some C's for question 24. All right, so it is a probability question, right? So we're trying to die here and you're trying to die twice. So what is the probability that the player gets a 2 on the first throw? So this is how we're doing this. So probability of getting a 2 on the first throw is equal to, remember a die has 6 faces. So the probability of getting a 2 is 1 over 6, right? Then the probability of getting an even number on the second row. So you have an even number, right? Now remember, these are the numbers on the die. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So when we say even number, we're talking about a 2, a 4, or a 6. So therefore, we have a total of 3 faces that have even numbers. So this is 3 over 6, right? Right. So they want to know what is the probability that you get a 2 on the first row, which is 1/6, and a probability of getting an even number. Now, when you see we're doing probabilities, especially in maths, and we see the word and, right? We're going to have to multiply the probabilities. So we have to take 1 over 6 and multiply it by 3 over 6, right? This 3 can go into the 6 2 times. So this is 1 over 12. So my answer for question 24 is 1 over 12, right? Which is actually D. All right. So I see you all saying C. One over 6. Yeah, that's 3 over 36. Yeah, the answer is 112. How you all got C? How you all got 1/3? Nicholas, Emily, and Astro. How do you all got C? You get 1/3. Right, so be careful in your multiple choice. Because of the weighting of these questions now, it's going to be weighting a lot more because you're only doing the multiple choice and the SBA, right? So please read the questions properly. What about question 25? The mean of 5 numbers is 7. The numbers are 3, 6, 9, 13, and x. Oh wait, I missed out something there completely. Question is, what is the value of x? Alright, so question 25. What is the value of x? The mean of 5 numbers is 7. And the numbers are 3, 6, 9, 13, and x. What is the value of x? So question 25. Okay, so I see Nicholas' response. Alright, cool. Alright, but the answer is 112 for that probability. So question 25. The mean of 5 numbers is 7, right? The numbers are 3, 6, 9, and 13, and x. What is the value of x, right? Typical exam question. All right, question 25, I've seen everybody saying A. So here's what you're going to do. So you need to remember how you find mean when you're given a string of numbers, right? So to find the mean, what you would have done is taken the 3 plus 6 plus 9 plus 13 plus x, right? We don't know what x is. We're going to divide by how many data points we have. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So you're dividing this by 5. That's how we would have worked out the mean. But it told us the mean is 7, right? So here's what we do to solve for x. So we add up the 6, the 9, the 3, the 9, the 13, right? That's going to give me 9, 9, 18 plus 13. You're going to get 31. So what you're going to end up with is 31 plus x over 5 is equal to 7, right? If you want to solve this equation, put this as 7 over 1 and you're going to cross multiply. So therefore what you're going to end up with is 31 plus x is equal to 7 by 5. So therefore 31 plus x is equal to 35. So therefore x is equal to 35 minus 31, right? Therefore we're going to get x is equal to 4. So the answer has to be A for question 25, right? So you all are correct. Question 26, right? So Akron Services is a small company with 6 employees. 4 employees are paid $200 per day and the rest is paid $350 per day. What is the average daily pay for all the employees? So question 26, right? You might need a few minutes for this. Question 26. So question 26, I see now you all saying B. You'll look at that real fast. So we have 4 employees, right? All of them are being paid $200 a day. And we have the rest of them being paid $350 a day. The question wants the average daily pay, right? So here's what we need to do. We need to find, so it's 4 employees being paid $200 per day. So that's 4 by 200, right? So that's the total pay for the 4 employees. Plus, you have how many? All right, so they have 6 employees. So therefore, 2 employees are going to be paid $350 a day, right? And we're going to take that total number and we're going to divide by my total of 6 employees, right? So this is what we're trying to work out here. So the average rate is equal to, so 4 by 200 gives me $800 plus 2 by 350 gives me, that's 700 divided by 6. So that is 1,500 divided by 6. And this gives me an average wage of, how much is that? 15. That gives me $250. Right? That's my average rate, wage. So the answer is B for question 26. Right? This is how we work out the average wage, sorry. Question 27. So the table shows how Jack's time is allocated over a 24-hour period. The information is to be represented using a pie chart. What angle will be used to represent the sector sleep? So question 27, which or what angle would represent sleep? right, so I'm seeing a lot of A's for question 27. Right, so if you all remember what a pie chart is, a pie chart looks like this, right? And basically we have sectors within the pie chart, right? And we're going to have an angle for each of the different sectors, right? Now, we are concerned about sleep. So sleep is this activity here, and that corresponds to 8 hours. So we want to know what angle we're going to use for that. So that'll be 8 over, remember it's a 24-hour period we're talking about here. So if you add up all these numbers, you should get 24. Let me make sure I didn't make a mistake. 8 and 6, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 22, right? So that's 24. So you're going to take that and multiply by my total angle in a circle, which is 360 degrees. So when you work this out, that's 8 over 24 multiplied by 360, you're going to get 120 degrees. So this is 120 degrees. So the answer is A, like you all said. So question 27, the answer is A. All right, question 28. We're doing this one here. At a factory, the lowest paid employee receives $250 per day. The range of daily wages is $200. What is the wage of the highest paid employee? Question 28. All right, so I'm seeing C. So remember what range is, right? So my range, right, is my highest value or my largest value minus my lowest, right? That's what range is, right? Now, so the range is 200. My highest value is, we don't know what that is, right? So let's call that X, minus my lowest value, which is $250, right? So therefore X is equal to 200 plus 250. So therefore X in this particular case here will be $450, right? So the answer is C for question 28. Okay. Question 29, a probability question. So question 29. A bar contains several colored balls. There are 3 red balls, 5 green balls, and 2 white balls, right? A ball is selected at random. What is the probability of selecting a red ball? So question 29. All right, so I'm seeing a lot of C's here. So we want the probability of getting a red ball, right? So the first thing we need to do, we need to see how many red balls we have. We have a total of 3 red balls. So we're going to put 3 divided by the total number of balls, which is 3 plus 5, which is 8, and 2, which is 10. So the answer is 3 over 10, right? So the answer is C for 29. All right. What about this one here? Question 30. On average, the probability of contracting the flu in a given year is 0.2. In a population of 1 million, how many people are likely to catch the flu in a given year? So question 30. All right, so most of you are saying B. So here's what you need to do. So you want to work out how many people actually are likely to catch a flu. So they give us a probability. Probability is 0.2. So all we need to do is to take 0.2 and multiply by 1 million, right? So that is a 1 with 6 zeros. When you work this out, you're going to end up with 200,000 people will actually get the flu, right? So therefore the answer has to be B. So question 31, right? The pie chart shows the extracurricular activities taken by students in a primary school. If 20 students play football, how many students take part in extracurricular activities? So question 31. So question 31, I'm seeing some B's coming in. So here's what we need to do for this, right? So we know 20 students play football, right? So we're talking about this sector here, right? So what that means is that this angle here is going to correspond to 20 students, right? Now, we need to figure out what that is. So if you notice something here, this line here, from here to here, is actually a straight line, which means that this whole angle here is 180 degrees, right? So this angle for football, so the angle for football right, is equal to 180 degrees minus 60 degrees. So this gives me 120 degrees, right? So what that is saying is that 120 degrees, right, that corresponds to 20 students. All right. So all you need to do now to work out how many students took part in extracurricular activities, right? That is 360 degrees we're talking about. You want to know the whole of the activities. So that's going to be 360 multiplied by 20 over 360. Sorry, 360 by 20 over 120. Yeah, 120. All right. So 120 into 360, that gives me 3. So therefore 3 multiplied by 20, that gives me 60 students. So the answer for this one here has to be B, which is 60 students. All right. So I see most of you all had B. Good. That's 31. Question 32. The data that occurs most frequently in a distribution is called what? Question 32. That's an easy one. So Sharice is saying B. Alright, so I'm seeing that B is coming. That is correct. So the data that occurs most frequently is called my mode. Alright, so the data that occurs most frequently is called my mode. Question 33. I know for sure you have not seen this question before. Question 33. Which of the following standard deviations correspond to the data which has the smallest spread about the mean? What is the answer for question 33? Students were surprised in 2019 when they saw a question about standard deviation. So which are the following standard deviations? So all these numbers here are standard deviations, right? Correspond to the data that has the smallest spread about the mean. Now, there's something that you all need to remember, right? So we have something called my mean, right? And typically we use the symbol X bar to represent mean. Then we have something called standard deviation, right? Which most people don't pay much attention to, but it's on the syllabus. So it's called standard deviation, right? And standard deviation, there's a symbol for it. It's called sigma, right? Now, here's what you need to know. You don't need to know how to calculate it. It used to be on the syllabus. You had to be able to calculate it. But what you really need to know is this. For data, right? If this is my mean, and this is how the distribution looks, right? The data, if I were to plot it, it looks like this. This here, from here to here, represents my spread about the mean, right? The smaller that value, the smaller my standard deviation. So if I were to look at the next set of data, and it looks like this, right? But it looks closer to this here. And this here represents my spread, right? It means that sigma for this one is smaller than the sigma for this one, or the standard deviation. So let's say this represented data A and data B. My standard deviation for data B is smaller than the standard deviation for data E. So here's what I'm really asking here, right? So all of these here represent standard deviation. The 0.1, the 0.2, 0.01, 0.02. And which one corresponds to the smallest spread above the mean? All I'm asking you here for is which value gives me the smallest standard deviation. So the smallest standard deviation corresponds to 0.001, right? Which is C. So the answer is C, right? So, like I said, standard deviation, you don't have to calculate it for the exam. You just need to understand what it means. So standard deviation gives me an idea of the spread of my data. That's what it's doing. Okay? Question 34. Alright, so the scores of a mental maths exam are shown below. What is the mean score? Question 34. Let's see how fast we can do this one. Alright, so I'm seeing Sharice and Nicholas saying B. So you need to remember how you find mean from a string of numbers, right? So mean, which is x bar, is equal to, it's always, in this case here, it's sigma x over sigma f, right? So my mean, all we're going to do is add up all my numbers. So my mean is equal to 4 plus 2 plus 6 plus 7 plus 7 plus 8 plus 4 plus 3 plus 1 plus 9, right? You're adding up all those numbers and divided by how many you have, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So we're going to add up all of that and divide it by 10, right? So that is 4 plus 2 is 6 and 6 is 12 plus 7 is 19. That's 26 plus, that's not, 14 plus 12, 3 plus 1 plus, right? When you divide that, you're going to get 5.1. So the answer has to be B, right? Question 35 now. So usually, I don't think it's the same data. I think I made a little change to this. Yeah, I did. Right? What is the modal score? We want to know the mode for question 35. Right, so I'm seeing most of you all saying B. Let's see. So we're looking for the modal score, right? So if you look at the data, you realize you have 4 appearing 1, 2, 3 times as compared to, yeah, so we have 4 appearing 3 times, right? So my mode in this case is going to be 4. Just remember what the mode is. The mode is the score that occurs most frequently. So the answer is B. Question 36. Same scores, I believe. We want to know what is the median score. So question 36. So you want the median. Once you get the word median, you need to arrange your scores in ascending order or descending order, right? So if we look at the scores here, we have 1, 2. So every time you take a score, please just scratch it off, right? So you don't make a mistake. So 1, 2. Then we have a 3 here. Then we have 4, 4. So you're going to put 4, 4. And then we have 6. Then you have 7, 7. So you're going to have 7, 7. And then you have 8. And then the last one we have 9. Right? So this is a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So in this particular case, it's an even number. So you don't have an exact middle. So therefore, my middle is somewhere in the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So you have 5 numbers to the left of the green line, 5 numbers to the right of the green line. So you don't have an exact middle. So therefore, the median lies somewhere between 4 and 6, right? So what we do, we say 4 plus 6 divided by 2, and this will give us 10 over 2, which is equal to 5. So my median in this case is D, right? So my median is D. Question 37. We have some scores here, and we want to know what is the lower quartile, right? So they can ask a question like that. What is the lower quartile? So this is question 37. So if you notice, it's the same data we're dealing with. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 4, 6, 7, 7, 8, 9. Please remember, if you're finding lower quartile, upper quartile, you still have to arrange in ascending order, right? So this is the same data, but I want to know what is my lower quartile. So question 37. So again, what you could do here, so we have 10 data points, right? So we know we don't have an exact middle. So my median is along that green line there. So when I ask them for the lower quartile is the middle of these numbers here. So you have 5 numbers, right? So if you have 5 numbers, it means that's an odd number. So you have an exact middle. So the exact middle here is 3. So this number here represents my lower quartile, right? If I were to ask you what is my upper quartile, in this case here, my upper quartile will be 7, because that's the middle of the upper 5 numbers. So this here is my upper quartile, right? So my lower quartile is actually just 3. So the answer is D. So question 37, the answer is D, right? So only Nicholas got that one, right? Let me just move through quickly. Didn't expect to reach this far. So the question wants the upper quartile. So, well, I just worked that out for you all here. Right, so this is the working for the upper quartile as well. So the same scores, you're going to have to arrange it in ascending order, right? And the upper quartile here is going to be 7 for question 38, right? And then 39, you want to get the interquartile range for the same data. So interquartile range is upper quartile minus my lower quartile. My upper quartile from the data here is 7. So it's 7 minus my lower quartile, which is 3. So therefore my interquartile range is 4. So for this one, the answer is C. Right? And the last one, what is the semi-interquartile range? So it's the same data we're dealing with here. I just worked out the interquartile range as being 4. So my semi-interquartile range, so semi-interquartile range is equal to my interquartile divided by 2. So this is just 4 divided by 2, and I don't have the answer. Alright, so that's a typo on my end. I just put this as 2 here.